Do we just like start whenever, or do we? Okay, I want one of you guys to pick up that mic, and I want you to tell me, like, what's going on with your life. Like, how is school? Literally the most mundane thing that you can think of. Take your time. It's okay. Do the nods. Do the looks. I nominate Sarah too. Which one is Sarah again?
Wait, what was the question?
Oh, just talk about like what's going on. Like talk about maybe I wouldn't say issues that you're facing, but like because we're all going through different things in life. So it's like, how are you navigating life right now as you are with your mindset and what you're doing?
Well, I feel like now that we're all in 11th grade, it's just like everything you do, you think about like uni and like how next year we're going to be seniors and then off to uni. Mm-hmm. And then I think that is just stressful as is. And also like a couple of us are doing IB too, which is also full IB diploma is also really hard.
Wait, so you guys are all from the 11th grade?
Yeah.
Nice, okay.
And so I think that's like what's mainly happening for
Okay.
now, like academics, school-wise.
Okay, so you guys are all stressing about uni, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. I'm glad it's over. And I know I know that's what most people say, that they're glad it's over of like that whole process. But one thing about that time of my life is like I remember at that point when I was in the 12th grade and I still hadn't applied anywhere. I was literally in everyone's nightmare. I was stressing a lot, and at that point I wasn't really like attached to Allah. I was kind of like, I gotta do it in my own way. I gotta do it myself. You know, it's like I'm in it alone. That was my mentality going through things. So when I was going through that and I saw everyone around me applying, I started feeling all of this pressure. And I think one of the biggest mistakes that I did was I had the mentality of being the victim. Like I thought I was the victim because everyone had all of these amazing opportunities and I was just kind of like left there alone with no applications, no nothing. I don't know how my future is going to look like. I'm the victim because I don't know what was going on, you know? That was my mentality going through things. So I think if I could go back to that time and I could talk to myself, I would be like, you know, first of all, open the Quran, like calm down, you know? Yeah. Like I think we put so much emphasis on the future. It's like you're not even guaranteed the future. You know what I mean? And I know it's easy to say that, but when you really sit down and you think about it, it's terrifying. Because I don't know, it's like we take every day for granted, right? It's like work hard, yes. Do everything that you can to have as many opportunities as you can. And that's not even in your own hands, you know. At the end of the day, that's from Allah. Allah has the rizq. Allah has the provisions. So He's going to give it to you, and He gives it to whoever He wills. At the end of the day, you have to work hard, but you also have to believe. You have to put trust in the idea that great things are in store for you. If you think that you don't have anything great in store for you, it's like it's game over before you even started, you know? Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about manifestation, because I know you guys are like, it's not voodoo stuff, and I know the word manifestation in and of itself is just kind of weird, but there's actually so many strings of like ideas in Islam that reflect manifestation. Not manifestation itself, like I manifest the universe. No, it's like you say what you want and you work hard for it and you're actually going to get it. But the thing is, in your head, you have to put it as though it is already for you. You know, I like to do this thing where when I'm like stressed and I don't know where I am in life and I feel like I don't know how my future is going to look like, I get this A3 piece of paper. Really, yes, A3. And I bring out my colored markers and I put my name in the middle. And then I make bubbles connected to my name and everything that I want to do in the future. And it could be the most absurd thing ever. Like one time I think I put go to space, be an astronaut. I've never seen a hijab go to space. That would be really cool. But and it's not like, yeah, that's definitely going to happen. But it's like if I want it that bad and I look at that poster every single day, it's like I know that Allah has something in store for me that's going to be either this or even better than this. So it's like it just reassures me that, okay, if I organize my thoughts, if I organize myself right now, and if I have full faith and full trust, then amazing things are going to happen regardless of what happens. It's not that you want something particular to happen, it's that you want Allah to choose for you what happens. Because if you got to choose, trust me, it wouldn't be such an amazing plan, because Allah has the aerial view and He knows how every single thing is going to play out. And so, do you want Allah to choose and He already knows what's going to happen, or do you want to choose and you're blinded to whatever is in the future? So it's just the discrepancy between those two things that you need to hold in mind whenever you think about the future and stuff like that. So that is something I would say to my 11th grader self. But I love that you brought that up, because I know how picking a university is a very not picking, but like applying is it's tough and stressful. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Is there anything like else that you guys want to talk about, like as an 11th grader, the life of an 11th grader? I miss 11th grade. Girl, I feel like you have a lot to say. I don't know.
Yeah. Wait, why are you giving it back?
I don't know. I feel like when I saw you, you looked like you had stuff in your mind, like ready to say. So I
mean, I don't know. Like, it's pretty much the same thing she said. Like, school it's pretty hard, but I feel like we'd all get through it. IB is beating me up, kind of.
Wait. Go through the stages of IB, because I wasn't an IB. I was an AP.
IB, it's basically a 2-year course. It's like really rigorous and everything. You have 3 standard levels and 3 higher levels. Usually your higher levels are like the classes that you need for like uni and stuff. For me, my higher levels are like math and physics. So
when you said physics, that's where I drew the line, honestly. Yeah, I get that.
But like, I mean, it's hard, but I know I'll get through it, because like obviously I have Allah on my side and everything. But yeah, so.
Okay, that's nice. I like that you said I have Allah on my side, because I feel like going into it with this mentality is like, I wish I had that mentality going through it, you know what I mean? But yeah, there was something I wanted to say, but it completely went past my mind. But I think I'll get back to that with the Allah on my side, because I really, really like that. I brought a notebook, by the way, just in case I need to write anything. Because, guys, you don't know this, but I have, like symptoms of Alzheimer's. No, not really. But, like, I could forget things the minute that you tell me. So I need to write them down in order to remember. That's why I cut my videos in so many frames, because I can't have a cohesive conversation in like a full 5 minutes. Okay, let's pass the mic. Let's see what else comes up. Don't be shy, guys. I see you giving me that look like I'm gonna do something to you. I swear I'm not.
No, like, I don't really have, like, for me, also, it's, like, literally the same thing, just school, and, like, I'm really stressed about applications, and, like, because I have no idea what I want to do in the future, and I have no idea where I want to go. Like,
okay.
I have options, but, like, I want to go to Canada, but at the same time, it's really far and everything.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what I want to do.
Okay. Far from the aspect of your parents aren't going to be there and you're going to be homesick, or?
No, like, also my mom doesn't, like, at the same time, I might want to go Middle East, but, like, I don't know. And then I don't even know what I want to do. That's the thing.
Yeah, I that's something that I actually wanted to touch on. When I was in high school, I was very artistic. I signed up for AP Art, and I had this obsession with everything art. So I thought I wanted to go into architecture. And I was very, very, very adamant. I was like, okay, that's it. I'm going to do architecture. That's for sure, 100%. And so when I came back and I started applying and I started seeing all of the things that were available, literally what is available, it's not like what I wanted. It's like what I could get into. My mom came to me one day and she was like, Farah, you're not good at architecture. And I'm like, that's great, Mom. Thank you for telling me that. Like, all of these years leading up to architecture, and I kept talking about it. She's like, yeah, you're just not for that job. And I was like, okay, what do you think I am for then? And growing up, I loved computers. Like, I loved being on my computer 24/7. And so she saw me on my computer all the time, and she was like, I think you'd be really good with computers. And it was like a little bit foreign. Like I was so uncomfortable with the idea because the entire time I was like architecture, you know. I started making my Pinterest board and everything, and it's like that's it. I decided on my identity, and I started taking courses online, and so it was literally in a day that I decided to change my entire whole life path, career-wise, and I went into computer science, and right now I'm doing AI, so that's really cool. But like I remember it happening overnight, and it's like subhanallah, I really thought I was gonna go into architecture. I was 100% sure, you know. But that's what I wanted to talk about, is that you don't really choose, you know. Yes, okay, yes, you choose, like you go manually and you have to choose it, but like when you're looking at all of the different things that are available in the world, it's like you have to see what you tend to, you know, the things that your personality, or not your personality, but like your tendencies align with. Like if you're on the computer so much and you like to like go into the page and inspect the page and see the HTML and whatever, it's like maybe try computer science, maybe try something like graphic design, you know, you never know. And I don't think you should think so far ahead and think about the workforce that you're entering and like how you're gonna work, because a lot of people I see, like when they're applying for universities, they say, oh, I want to have a great relationship with the alumni, I want to network and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you're 12, like calm down, you know. Like yeah, you should network, don't get me wrong, and you will network throughout your life, you will meet people and stuff like that, but it's like you're still young, and I know it's so cliche that people say that, but the world is so ready for you to just do whatever you think is right for you. So don't think about the money. Don't think about the workforce. Obviously, don't go into philosophy, but like, you know, do things that kind of have meaning, you know. Philosophy is okay. Just do it on the side if you want to. But I think that when you're deciding, it's like kind of listen to your inner self. You know, listen to your inner child, sit down with yourself in silence, because you can't make this decision talking with people or with so much noise in your head, because then it's like you need to be in complete clarity for it to actually find you. I'm not even joking. Like, it will find you, and you just have to be ready to accept it, because it's like you're a door, you know. Right now, maybe because of the noise and so much distraction, it's like your door is locked or something like that. But when you're so accepting of everything that comes your way and you feel like, okay, great things are in store for me, it's like you're opening that door slightly more and more, and you're allowing things to come inside. You know, it's just that you have to be at peace inside, and you have to be you have to work with your insides for that door to be open more and more with time, you know. And I know this idea is kind of so abstract for you guys, and it's like, what is this hippie talking about, you know? But I say it from complete experience, and not complete because I'm still a baby also. Like, I see myself as one of you guys, one of the gals. I'm a teenager. Yes, I'm in my 20s, but I'm a teenager at heart. But really? I thought you were like 15 the minute I saw you. We're all just teenagers hanging around. By the way, adults are just teenagers that grew up. Like, they're not actually adults. They're just teenagers with big bodies. It's like, I'm not even joking. I'm realizing this in my 20s. I thought old people were like old, and they just like they had the personalities. Yeah. Yeah, so like you never, like, you see the way that you are now with your personalities, and you know, granted that you're being your authentic self and everything, and you're not trying to copy an influencer online, but like, this is who you will be in 5 years. This is who you are in 10 years, 20 years. This is the same soul. Like, this soul is the same thing, and it just remains the same throughout your life. And it's like, to grasp that with your head is so, it's wild to think about. It's like you're gonna carry the soul your entire life. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, you're changing, you're fluctuating, your personality is going through this, whatever it's going through, but like, you still were the same child. You still like the same things. I notice, like, right now, when I'm doing things, or like the hobbies that I pick up, they reflect what I did in the past so much, like what I used to do as a child, you know. And it's crazy to see the reflection between this and that. It's like you think you're growing up and you're like leaving your old self. No, you guys are all connected through this time dimension. It's so crazy, you know. So like, don't lose sight of that. You're not gonna be a whole different person. You're gonna be you. You're just gonna be doing more things, and things that align with who you are and what you believe in and what you think is kind of missing in the world and what you want to add to the world, you know. So that's, I hope that kind of answered your question. But yeah, no, that's something. And again, this is really abstract the way I'm talking about it. But you have to, just to clarify the key point, you have to sit with yourself in silence to know what you're tending to more. You're not going to know 100% like, I'm going to be this, because that's what I thought. And then I turned out to be something else. So it's just, and also it's trial and error. So you see what works, you see what doesn't work, and you just go with that. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Well, since we're in high school, I feel like the people you surround yourself with, like, affect you a lot. So I feel like that's a big part of, like, who you are, too.
I love that. This year, actually, was the year that I, like, attached myself so much to the idea that you are who you surround yourself with. You know, like, they say it's the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. But it's like, at uni, it's like, yeah, you find your people, sort of, but it's whoever is available. Like, you don't go outside of uni to meet people unless you actively do that. But this year, like, I cut some people off, you know. I had to pay attention so much to who I was surrounding myself with. And by the way, it was uncomfortable for both of us. Like, me cutting people off is uncomfortable for me, and it's probably uncomfortable for them. It's like, we didn't want to have this conversation, but we're having this conversation, you know what I mean? Because it's not about cutting them off for the sake of just cutting them off. It's cutting them off because you know that deep down, you guys are not on the same wavelength. And that's okay. That's fine. It's like, it's not saying I'm better and you're not. It's has nothing to do with that. It's just, you need to understand that who you surround yourself with is eventually going to penetrate through you, and it's going to, like, pervade your insides. It's going to pervade your mind. It's going to pervade your heart. It's like almost energy, osmosis. You know what I mean? Physics. Osmosis. It's like this energy is being shared between people, and yeah, you can't see energy, but you can feel it. You know, when someone feels like is feeling down or has this weird feeling to them, and they come next to you and they sit down, and it's literally being transferred over to you, and you're like, I don't want this, please stay away, you know. So that's why this year I was really, really grateful of finding at least the right person. I didn't find the right people. I found one person that I thought, like, was, like, so on my wavelength, basically. At least she's so positive, and it's like we can hear each other without speaking. You know what I mean? And after having experienced that type of friendship, it's the friendship that I wouldn't change for anything else. And having experienced the type of friendship where I felt a little bit suffocated, I'm not even joking, it's they're worlds apart. They're like, I can't even compare them, because when I was friends with people that I didn't really want to be friends with, it was kind of situational. It's like, we took the same classes, we go to the same place, might as well, you know? And I like to crack a few jokes, so when I crack a few jokes, they think that I want to be friends with them, but it's just me. I like to crack jokes. So, you know, being how I thought back then, I thought I was being tied down to these friendships, like I was handcuffed to people and I was forced to be friends with them. It turns out you have free will, and you can say that I don't want to be friends with that person, you know, like, you can exercise your free will. No one said you couldn't, you know. So this year and last year, like leading up to this year, I think I realized that I had that free will, so I cut some people off, and I actually feel like I'm breathing again. I feel like I'm alive again. I feel like I have my own time. I feel like I have my own space and energy. And it's like this energy that I want to protect as much as possible. Like, I don't want to let people inside and mess with the energy, because it's like, why would I disrespect myself like that? You know, it's like you wouldn't dare disrespect people, you know, I hope. But like, you treat them like human beings. Treat yourself like a human being also. It's like, why are you letting yourself being run over with these things? Or you're being tossed around, and things are happening to you and you don't do anything about it. It's like, you actually can do something about it, you know? And yes, okay, right now I'm talking extensively about toxic friendships, and I think you guys can tell. But also I'm talking about the friendships that are kind of chill. I use that word because, you know, those friends that are just like chill, like you're around a lot, but you're not that close, but you're just chill with them. I would say also pay attention to those types of people, because yes, okay, they're chill. It's like you don't think there's so much influence that's going on, but you never know, you know. At the end of the day, you go back home and you have the same way of speech, or you have the same tendencies, and like you're mirroring that person's way, you know. So just being cautious of that, I think, is really important. And it's like you want to surround yourself basically with who you want to be, you know. Like when you look at your friends, are they people that you want to be? Are they people that you look up to? Are they doing things that you want to do, you know? Because that's really important. You don't want to be with people that, like, do things that in your head you're like, I would never do. But it's like, you will eventually if you keep being friends with them, you know what I mean? And this is really important. And I don't know if you guys experienced it, but if it has happened or not, you probably will experience it. This is something that has to be learned, unfortunately. You can't be just said and taught and learned like that. But yeah, it's just to be cautious of it. It's to be conscious of it also. To have conversations with yourself about what's going on in your friends and all that. It's like, treat yourself like a friend also, you know? Like when you come back home, think, how was today? How did I like my interaction with that person? What was it like, you know? Why were they acting weird in that way when I said that thing? Because sometimes how I like to test people, how I like to test friends is saying, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah. And they're like white Americans. I just want to see what happens, you know? But when I get like good feedback, I'm like, wow, those people are really cool. I want to hang around them more, because it's like they're accepting of that, or they like that, or I don't know how to explain it, but it's like I feel like I can be my full authentic self, and it's like I don't have to hide, or I don't have to water down my Islam to be like them or for them to like me. It's like, let me like you. Let me see if I like you first, you know? We never think about that. So be really your true authentic self, and you'll literally see people like either coming in or going away. It's like you don't even have to try when you're so authentic and you're so yourself. It's like if you have a thought in your mind and you're like, oh, I really want to say this thought. Granted, this thought is appropriate, you know, but like, مثلا, for example, if you like read something from the Quran and you were like, this is so fascinating, I want to talk about it with someone, and you go to your friend group or whoever, the people that you hang out with in your day-to-day lives, and you say, I read this thing and it was so interesting, and I love how this played into this. Like, you just talk about something that you're passionate about. See their response. How do they respond? You know what I mean? If their response is like, okay, that's cool. Anyway, it's like, no, not anyway, actually. I'm leaving, you know? That's what I would do personally. But if they like engaged in it and they were interested and they were as passionate as me, I would be like, oh my God, this is my person. Like, I found my people. You know what I mean? So the trick is to be your really, really authentic self. And it's not even a trick. It's just, you just have to not be scared of the judgment. Like, judgment is going to come either way. So it's just like, you know, be as much as you can be yourself and no one else. I know I sound like a Pinterest pin, by the way, but I like, this is real. Like, this is a genuine advice. But yeah, I hope that helped.
I feel like ever since COVID happened, I've been like relying on my phone too much. And like ever since, no, as in like when I come back after school, I tend to like go on my phone and scroll on TikTok or Insta Reels.
Yeah.
And like sometimes it's like really draining. Like I wonder if this is like how I'm supposed to spend my time, because all of a sudden it's like 9 p.m. I need to do my homework and stuff.
Well, okay, here's the thing. What's so ironic, first and foremost, is that I post a lot on TikTok, but I'm not on TikTok. Like, sometimes I go MIA, and then I just come and because I like to produce, I don't like to consume, you know? But when I was in high school, I was so media obsessed. I wouldn't use only TikTok. I would use Instagram. I would use YouTube. I would use Pinterest. I would use all of these platforms where I feel like I could escape and not think. Because the situation that I was in, the uni's applications and all of that, I felt like I didn't want to think about any of that, let alone homework. So, what is the most convenient solution to escape? Just go on your phone, switch your brain off, and just keep with your thumb swiping up, 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 up. And it's just like you're entered into this rabbit hole, a loop, and it's really hard to get out because it's engineered that way. But the thing is, I'm not going to say put your phone away and lock your phone, delete TikTok. I'm not going to say that because I think TikTok has some nice content. It's like it depends on how your feed looks. Like, I try as much as possible to make my feed represent who I want to be. Represent what I want my life to look like. So, like, I follow people who are so resilient in the mind, and they talk about their way of life, and they talk about what they think and the struggles that they go through. It's like hearing those people gives me the motivation to keep going, whatever it is that I'm going in. But also, I want to talk about something else. Hold on one second. Okay, so following... yes. Do any of you guys follow actors, actresses, influencers, like people that... It's like a parasocial relationship. Do you guys have that with a lot on Instagram and TikTok? Yes, kind of? Okay. I would say... Oh, actually, also, to add on to that, do you guys follow your friends and stuff? Like, you follow your friends, right? Okay. I would say be very cautious of who you're following, of who you choose to give your attention to, because in this day and age, attention is the currency, right? Because these people, it's like, you don't know these people. And so for you to consume their content so, I wouldn't say mindlessly, but to consume their content in your day-to-day life, and you don't even know these people, and they don't really add that much benefit to your life. It's like, why am I doing that? Like, ask yourself, be so uncomfortable, but why am I doing that? Like, what is the reason for me supporting Jennifer Lopez, and she doesn't even know me, bro. Like, I'm just supporting Jennifer Lopez, and I keep commenting, you look great, queen, and she's just carrying on doing her career or whatever she's doing, you know what I mean? I don't know why I picked Jennifer Lopez. I feel so bad for her. I don't even know who Jennifer Lopez is. It's just the name was like so, I don't know. Right? That was so very millennial of me. My next selection was Lady Gaga, so you're right. But yeah, my feed, I'm sorry I keep talking about my feed, but like I'm trying to tell you how I fixed that problem that I had also, because I think most of you guys have this problem. But like I said, following the things that you think reflect who you are. So if like, when I go to my followings list, I actually check my followings list regularly. Like, I make sure I'm not following anything that I don't want to follow, because it's going to show up on my feed. It's like, I don't want something... This feed, sometimes my brain switches off when I'm on my feed. So it's like, I could be manipulated in a way without knowing. So I'm going to choose carefully who at least would manipulate me, That sounded bad. But I try to follow, like, a lot of Islamic pages, for sure. Ones that give quotes of the Quran, ones that give the hadith, ones that give stories. ones that have the scholars talking about certain things, it's like that keeps you present despite you being a little bit mindful, if that makes sense. And I know that sounds a little bit paradoxical, but you know, if you're resorting to this thing that you're escaping to all the time, of course, it's an issue in and of itself that it's a form of escapism, but it's like you want to make sure that at least what you're escaping to is something that has some benefit for you, you know? Like, I personally like to use the gym to escape. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen me at the gym at all, but I love the gym. Like, for me, it's like, it's my therapy, and I'll be honest, it's a little bit problematic how dependent I am on the gym. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say the gym is amazing and I'm okay, my relationship with it is fine. No, it's something I have to work on, but I do use it as a form of escape, and it's good for my physicality. Like, it's good for my well-being mentally and physically, you know, so that I'm glad that I have that form of, I wouldn't call it escape, right? But something that I could resort to, you know. And I think I would bring that back a little bit to the advice that I gave you, which was to be silent and to not have any distractions. Because when you're on your feed, especially on TikTok, which is, I think, the most heavily engineered to keep your attention because of its architecture, I would say that thing, like that noise, that distraction is you're letting it in. It's going to keep you from thinking properly, if I'm being honest, you know? So if you switch that off and you put it aside and you sit down for 5 minutes in absolute silence, that 5 minutes you could have spent scrolling, but you chose to put your phone aside, to put aside all of these hyper stimulations, which are called, this is literally what they call them, hyper stimulation. You choose to put that aside and you sit with yourself for 5 minutes in silence. Pay attention to the thoughts that come up in your brain. You know, pay attention to the things that you think about, to the things at the back of your head that you haven't given so much consideration to, or you haven't given so much attention to. It's like, what are the things that naturally come up in your brain, you know? And then bring a piece of paper. I love how all of my advice has paper in it. But bring a piece of paper and write those things down, you know? It's not that you want to write things down. No, it's that you want to basically put the things in your brain in words onto paper. So the goal isn't to write. The goal is to understand, you know, to understand what's going on in your brain. And so when you understand what's going on in your brain and you set this hyperstimulation aside, in this moment of clarity, you're like, okay, let me understand what it is that I want to do. I want to finish my homework. I want to write this essay for this university. I want to do X, Y, and Z. You're organizing everything. You know what I mean? And it's like you reach a state of silence and clarity that you can't do with hyperstimulation. You're not going to be on TikTok and while you're scrolling, you're like, I need to do my homework. You know, you're going to think about the TikToks that you're watching. You're not going to think about homework, you know? And so when you're in this silence, it's like, okay, this is a space where you get, and set a timer. I'm not even joking. 5 minutes. Set a timer for 5 minutes in silence, without your phone, without any distraction. And in this 5 minutes, I think you're going to reach something that is useful. And try this today. I'm honest. Like, if you come back home and you go back home from school and on a weekday and you catch yourself scrolling, do this thing where you put 5 minutes in silence, have a piece of paper, try to translate the thoughts in your brain onto paper. And then that's when I think you're going to get a little bit of motivation to start acting, to start doing what you think you need to be doing. And this is something that I talked about in one of my very, very short videos on YouTube. I titled it, Slow Down, You're Doing Fine. It's based on a song. I think you know Billy Joel. Slow down, you're doing fine. You can't be everything you want to be before your time. Guys, I don't quote songs, okay? This is so cringe. I don't quote songs, but this song is good. This song, no, it's not about, like, this song in particular, but these lyrics, like, I resonate with so much because it's like when you're in this state of silence and you're, like, speaking with yourself in your brain, and you have a list of things that you want to do or that you eventually, like, you're going to get to doing. When you do it slowly, when you're slowing down, when you're being present in the things that you do, so like, let's say I write down homework and then I set this paper aside and then I go to my homework. I open my bag, I get my paper out, I get my computer out, and I sit down, I make a cup of tea or something like that, and then I'm just so completely present and I slow down and I enjoy the process. Yes, it's homework. None of us want to do it. I get that. But it's like, whatever you're doing it, enjoy doing it. Like, don't rush it in the last minute because it's like, oh, I have to submit it by 11:59 or else. And then you start at 10 p.m. It's like, start from like after Salat al-Dhuhr. Like, pray and then get yourself ready and then have a nice space to work with. A clean space is like a clean mind. And it's like, go slow with things, Enjoy the process. When you're doing homework, when you're writing an essay, sometimes when I'm writing essays, I talk out loud. I like to think about how the sentences sound, and I like to try different words. I open the thesaurus because I do not know enough synonyms to write. But it's like, it's enjoyable to just be in this flow. And this is there's this book, I think, called Flow, where you're so present in a task that you forget everything else, that you forget that the world exists, And so when you're in that flow, you want to remain in that flow. So like, you put your phone as far away from you as possible. It's like, yeah, have some time for scrolling. It's not like the worst thing in the world. It's not the enemy. But it's like, be mindful of when you're doing it, If you're studying or if you're doing homework, if you're doing whatever, be like, okay, I will do this for like an hour or something, and then I will scroll for a good 10 minutes. It's just try to set those two apart and try to understand that there is enjoyment in the work that you have. Like, the work that you have waiting for you, don't sulk in don't think that it's going to be tedious. Don't think that it's going to be hard or it's going to be like, it's going to yield no effect or anything like that. It's like, know for a fact that this is good for you and that you're going to enjoy it and you will actually enjoy it, I think, I don't know if like that answers your question of using your phone, scrolling and stuff like that, and the work that you have. But like, I don't say that scrolling is the worst thing in the world. So I don't want to give you an unrealistic answer and say, just stop scrolling and delete TikTok. Like, that's not really useful, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people say that. But if I were, to be honest, if I could go back to my high school self, and I wasn't a content creator at that time, so I didn't really have like ambitions of being on Instagram and on TikTok, but I would tell myself to not have those apps. Not because I'm demonizing scrolling. I think it's not the worst thing in the world, but it's because I wish I spent more time looking at these longer videos on YouTube. So technically, you could say this is advanced scrolling because on YouTube, it's a different platform. But because on YouTube, there's a lot, first of all, it's long form content. It's not short form. So your attention span isn't going to be broken. But also on YouTube, you find these channels and these videos that are so deep in thought. Like, they go so deep in thought. And it's like, you have to follow their train of thought, and you have to kind of navigate your way through all of these ideas that require actual thinking, like critical thinking. So it's like, you're not being mindless with this stuff, Don't hate me, guys, but the things that come to mind are lectures. I know that that's not what you wanted to hear. But like, I was scrolling on YouTube the other day and I saw these lectures from, I think, Stanford. And they're like an hour long, and they're talking about artificial intelligence, and it's obviously this Asian guy with a big whiteboard behind him, and I'm just like, and I'm not even joking you, I programmed myself in a way to be like, wow, this video is available for people to watch for free? Like, who am I? This is so nerdy, oh my god. Because I used to like watch movies, I used to have Netflix, I used to like indulge in movies and TV shows, but it's like, when you understand that in your free time you have the ability to build yourself to whatever you want, that's something crazy to think about. Because, yeah, okay, you're in school right now. You're thinking about university. You're thinking about what you're doing for school and homework and graduation and everything. I get that. But then you have these fragments of time, free time in the day, right? These fragments of free time, these are for you, right? Let's set aside the time that you spend for, university and college and things that are conventional. But these fragments of free time are for you to do whatever that you want to do. The sky is the limit, guys. I'm not even joking. It's crazy. Just thinking about it right now, I'm having chills. I don't know why you guys are not having chills, but it's so crazy. Like, you have this free time. You do whatever you want to do. Anything, Most people resort to scrolling. Like, in that free time, they'll just open their phone, and then their finger knows where the app is, so it just goes really fast. Like, it's in the blink of an eye. And then before you know it, you start scrolling. This is your free time. This is your moment of free will. You get to do whatever you want to do. You choose to scroll, right? But I'm saying that there are a million things that you could be doing to be the person that you want to be in the future. So, like, I'm saying that, for example, I don't know if you guys have, like, goals, like, set in mind or ambitions in life that you have in your head always. But, for example, let's say that if you want to study the Quran more, if you want to understand the words of Allah that are considered a miracle, by the way. Like, they're words of light. They're not normal words, you know what I mean? That was my goal, is that I wanted to understand them better, because it's like, I have access to this book, and it's the greatest book known to man. It's like, why don't I know more about it, So in these moments of free time, I can use some of that free time. I'm not saying all of it. I'm saying I could use, like, 30 minutes to understand something. And if I do that habitually, what is that going to make me? Well, who am I going to be in the future? You know what I mean? It's going to build me very slowly, very slowly. It doesn't happen overnight. But if it's habitual, it will lead you to the person that you want to be. And it's a person who knows a little bit more about the Quran. And that's amazing. And you did that through 20 minutes, 3 times a week even. It doesn't have to be every single day, but it's like you have these pockets of free time. You get to do whatever you want to do, if you're into if you're into drawing, if you're into painting, if you are into sports, anything like that, it's like these moments of free time, these are for you to build something with time. Because if you want to build something so great, you can't do it overnight, right? So you need habits set in place. And it's like, you don't have to be so strict with yourself, but understand what it is that you want to be, so that you use this free time to do that. So that's my argument against scrolling. But again, scrolling isn't the worst thing ever. It's not the end all be all. But yeah, I hope that was helpful.
How do you, like, stay motivated to being consistent with, like, praying and, like, reading the Quran? Like, like, sometimes when, like, I feel like for me, if I go under pressure, like, I'll try to read Quran every day, but, like, I'll skip, like, a couple of days. Like, how do you just, like, make it, like, a motivation? Like, yes, like, I want to. Like, or, like, more of, like, a habit rather than, like, a motivation. Like, how do you just, like, stay consistent?
For me, and this is me personally, in my head, if I have something set on a list of my to-dos in a day, I like to prioritize them. So I like to say, okay, the most important thing today is that I read a page of the Quran. The second most important thing today is that I pray the prayers. The third most important thing is that I complete this assignment for this. So, like, I actually prioritize them 1, 2, 3. And sometimes they'll have, like, close proximity to the priorities. Like, they'll be the same, but still. If I have number 1 as read the Quran, I will do that the minute I wake up. Like, when I wake up, that's the first thing I do. I don't check my phone. I don't do anything else. At least I try, because some days, like, there's an examination. Some days are a little bit, like, different. But for the most part, if it's just a regular day and I know what's going on, that's the first thing I'll do. I'll wake up. I'll go make my coffee. I'll sit in the same place that I always sit, and then I will read my 1 page of Quran. That ensures that I am connected to the Quran every single day. Yes, it's just a page, But it's like, and I have the translation alongside me, and I have this notebook for writing down the things that stand out to me. But it's like, if that's the most important thing in my opinion, that's the first thing I'm doing the minute I wake up. And as for prayers, it's really how you look at prayers. So like, and I'm still, by the way, I'm still on this wave with you of looking at prayers as a way of dealing with the things that you have, not as an obligation. Like, yeah, okay, it's obligated, but when it comes time for prayer, when I hear the adhan, when I hear Allahu Akbar, and I'm doing something, and I'm so deep into it, it's like, Allahu Akbar, Allah is greater. First of all, I'm reminded that Allah is greater. You know what I mean? That's why the call to adhan is Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater, Allah is greater, no matter how deep into the thing I am doing is, you know? And so when I hear that, first of all, I'm reminded of how blessed I am to be able to go and do this thing, which is to pray. How blessed I am for being chosen for that, to go and pray. And then I think of it as a way of relaxing. Like, obviously, it's hard to reach this point because when we're young, we're told to pray. We're not told, okay, you do this for that, you do this to calm your spiritual self. It's like you eat to calm your physical self, you sleep to calm your mental self, you pray to calm your spiritual self. It's like you actually need it, even if you necessarily don't really want it, or it's something that bothers you throughout the day. Is like, okay, you have to use lunch break to pray, and then when you get back home you have to pray, and then when it's maghrib time you have to pray, and then Isha you have to pray. It's like we're taught, okay, just pray. You just have to pray. So then we're like, okay, this is something that's kind of like, I don't want to use the word annoying, but I'm being so honest. I'm being very, very frank. But when I was young, it's like, God, like, how long do I have to keep doing this for? You know what I mean? Like, this is crazy because I wasn't taught the significance of it, you know? But growing up and, like, understanding that sometimes, you talked about depression, right? Sometimes you catch yourself falling into this place in your brain where it's like nothing matters anymore. It's like a black hole a little bit. And I think I'm not going to say that you have this mental illness because you didn't have this connection with the salah or with the Quran or with Allah. I don't think that's a proper thing to say. But it's like when you understand that, just how I talked about escapism, going to salah and praying is supposed to be a form of escapism. It's supposed to be a place where you leave this world behind. You go for 5 minutes and you talk with the one who owns the heavens and the earth, and you come back. You know, so it's like, it's not a light thing, even though we think it's like we do it 5 times a day. It's fine. It's like we're so used to it. We say the same. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ. I know we all say that, right? But it's like you're going away from your task. You're going for 5 minutes. You're speaking with the one who knows you better than you know yourself. And then you have this moment of silence after your prayer to like say your adhkar and say Ayatul Kursi, and it's like you just finished talking with the one who owns the heavens and the earth, and then you go back to doing your task. It's like understanding the significance of what it is. And I'm not gonna sit here and say you can do that for your entire life and stay motivated forever. It's like, no, motivation is gonna come and go. You know, motivation is very, very temporary. But I think what's more important in Islam than motivation is discipline. Because discipline is doing the things that you have to do, whether you want to do them or not. You know, but it does make it easier when you understand the significance of salah. And I really recommend, because I don't know so much about this, like I can't speak extensively on this, but I recommend looking at like lessons and lectures online that talk about the significance of salah. Because when you think about salah, this is the thing that separates us from Muslims, us Muslims from non-Muslims. And it's wild to think that this thing is the thing that draws the line. Like, what separates us from the Christians? What separates us from the Jews? You know, why do we have this thing set in place for us specifically? Why is it 5 times a day? Isn't that so rigorous? Like, isn't that so much for a human being to do in a day for their entire life, you know? But when you understand why it was set in place for us, and by the way, it was 50. It used to be 50 prayers, yeah? But subhanAllah, Allah is the most merciful, and He made it 5 because He knows that we also have things other than that to do, you know? It's also to ease up on us, and it's like Allah is the all-knowing. He knows. So He knows that 5 is the absolute perfect amount for our spiritual side to be nourished, to be full, to be okay with everything that's going on. So yeah, just reshaping the way that you look at it is really, really helpful. I recommend online resources for that. But yeah, I love your question. Thank you so much. That's amazing.
I think it was like what you said before, just trying to find the right people, I guess. Because I've been to like a different school every year, and I've experienced like how different people can be. So you're just, I guess, trying to figure out where you fit in. That's my thing.
Okay. Well, do you have friends right now? Like, I want to know, not your personal situation, but like, what types of friends have you had over the years? Like, how was your experience with that? If that makes any sense.
I think I've met like obviously good people, and then sometimes you meet like people who just say like rude things, but they think it's like a joke or like it's funny. I think those people, it's like I've experienced that this year. I don't know, it's just
Okay. Well, okay. I think the best thing to do with anything that happens in your life, in any situation, is to look at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he led his life. And the minute that you told me that, by the way, the minute that you said, when they say things that you don't necessarily want to hear, subhanAllah, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was around people that hated him. Like, they hated his guts, you know what I mean? And so he had this like really big message, and he was so not fitting in, by the way. He was such an outcast. Like, he would, like, how you know how we look at mentally ill people today? That's how they saw the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I know, like, that's stretching it a little bit, but like, why did they call him crazy? Why did they call him majnoon? Why did they call him a magician? You know, they thought of him as like the most outcastish person ever. And so when they said things about him, and they would say it to his face, they would say it behind his back, they would say it in all forms, in all kinds. But when they said things like that, and they would get physical, they would start throwing things, they would start hitting, all of these things, he would simply leave. He wouldn't be like, I don't like you guys, the way you talk to me with your tone. He didn't say that, right? Because why would he put energy to that? You know, the wisdom behind just leaving, it's like, say salam and then just leave. You know, give your salam and then leave. It's like, I'm not going to sit around with this energy that I don't even want. Like, this is not for me. It's like, why would I give any cell of thought to this? Anything of value to these people that aren't valuing me to begin with, because they're saying the things that they're saying, you know? And the idea of fitting in, I think that was one big thing that I wish I never tried to do when I was in high school, is to fit in. Because the reason that, alhamdulillah, I think I'm so happy today, actually. I think I'm so authentic, I'm so genuine, I'm so at peace with myself and who I am. And when I go to sleep, I sleep like a baby, knowing that I am who I am, you know? Because I used to sleep being so haunted by the fact that I'm trying to be like other people. That used to keep me from sleeping. Like, I would cry myself to sleep, you know, because I wanted to fit in so badly. I wanted people to like me. I wanted to be a certain person amongst the people, you know. I had these societal pressures and everything. So I would cry myself to sleep, mostly due to the fact that I wasn't being true to myself, and that it's like there was this big gap of who I was on the outside and what's in my heart. So that was something that like haunted me when I was in high school. But I never talked about the thing. Like I never talked about it. I never showed any sign of there's this big gap. No, I always acted like everything's okay, everything's fine. I am who I am. It's like, no, I was trying to be something I wasn't completely. But today I'm so grateful because it's like being so completely true, like listening. And by the way, the things in your heart are so quiet, but listening to the things in your heart. And again, that comes with silence. See how silence keeps coming back? Like this is a recurring theme. But listening to the things in your heart and being so true to that it's like fitting in is not an option. I know it's comfortable, and I know it's like you want to be with the people and you want to laugh with the people. You want everyone to have a great time and you want life to be good. But it's like if the people there aren't really your cup of tea, you don't want to fit in. It's like that's not something to fit into. I prefer to stand out, actually. Like I prefer not to be one of you guys. I prefer to take, yes, it's going against the grain. It's a little bit harder and it's uncomfortable, but it's going to make you more proud of yourself at the end because you stuck to what you believe is true, not what people are doing. And that's more important, is to be true to yourself. Even if people make fun of that, let them make fun of that. It's like, I actually feel bad for them that they're kind of, you could say, also trying to fit in, because sometimes people say things to fit in. You know what I mean? They crack certain jokes to fit in because they want specific people to laugh. They want to be in there. So it's like just taking yourself away from that and just being true to yourself. And I know, like I said, it's easier to fit in, but sometimes it's necessary to stand out, for you to have that peace in your heart, to be true to yourself. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful. Guys, I'm so sorry. These things that I'm saying are so abstract. Like, I know you did not expect me to talk about the heart and spirituality, but it's just like, it's real. Like, yeah, okay, you can't see your heart. You can't see your soul. You can't see the energy that I talked about. You can't see your future. There's a lot of things that you can't see, but you have to believe with 100% certainty that they exist. Like you know your name, these things exist, So, yeah, so I hope that was helpful. Yeah. Okay, is that it? Wow, that was... Are we going to go on, like, another round, like, on the opposite end, or... Why do I feel like a millennial today? Oh, my gosh. Was it? I don't know, maybe. It's probably the text osmosis. Yeah. But, yeah. Okay, yeah, okay, let's go to here. Okay, that was the video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Do you guys want to say hi, like, all together, like on the same? No, without the mic. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Hi. See, it's a big crowd today. It's like 100 people. Anyway, okay, have a good time, and I'll see you again. Bye bye.